Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you tonight for another album review, and hopefully you enjoyed this album review. It's for another country soul singer, mostly soul country singer, for Chris Stapleton and his new album Higher that I got a chance to listen to for myself to see what I was going to think of it. I know I'm a few days behind on this review. I was trying to look for this to download on my phone, and it was, I don't know, something was not letting me. So, and because my progress bar for my cell service was bad and the Wi-Fi was, it was just not very good. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for 14 songs for this 54-minute album, or 54.5-minute album for Higher, and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this album review. Now basically it starts with the opening track, What Am I Gonna Do? And this is actually a good song. I think Chris Stapleton's vocals work with this track, and just the nice acoustic and the melody sounds pretty nice. So I really dig this track for how it sounds, and it's a good opening track. 4.5 out of 5. South Dakota was pretty interesting of a song. I like the lyrics that Chris Stapleton wrote for this track, and mostly his vocals sound pretty good and works well with the lyricism. So this is another 4.5 out of 5. I wouldn't say they're the best songs, but they are good tracks in their own way. Trust is a good song for what it went for. It's solid, but it gets the job done. So it's another 4.5 out of 5. Chris Stapleton's vocals sound amazing, and just the melody sounds pretty good. So 4.5 out of 5. It Takes a Woman is actually a good track. I wouldn't say my favorite, but majority of the tracks that I think got 4.5 out of 5s are the highlights for this album, meaning the strong tracks in their own way. I wouldn't say they're the best songs, but they are the strong tracks in their own way. And give me a second, guys, gotta pause the video. Sorry about that, guys. Had to pretty much clean up just a little mess for a moment ago, and I had to help my mom out. She called me on my phone. So basically, It Takes a Woman's getting a 4.5 out of 5. And comes The Fire. I think that's a good track in its own way. Chris Stapleton's vocals. Sorry, I'm breathing heavy because I had to clean up a cat food mess that I made by accident because we saw a stray cat outside, so might as well feed it, I guess. Hopefully no other critters come around, but who knows. I mean, the longer you feed it, then yeah. Pretty much The Fire's getting a 4.5 out of 5. So, Think I'm in Love with You is a good track in its own way. Chris Stapleton's vocals sound pretty good in this, and just the overall melody and execution of the track did pretty well, so 4.5 out of 5. Loving You on My Mind. There's some weird moments in this track that I don't know if I like with Chris Stapleton's vocals that I don't think resonated with me in a good way. I think it's a decent song, but it just didn't hit its mark of being good. So this is a 4 out of 5 for this one. Then comes White Horse, and that was actually a pretty solid track. It's good in its own way. Chris Stapleton's vocals sounded pretty good in this song, so I really dig this track. 4.5 out of 5. Higher is a decent song. I was gonna give it a lesser rating because of how its falsetto vocals sounded when he was singing the higher lyric and falsetto. I don't know, it just didn't connect with me, and it just sounded a little cringy. But there was one vocal pitch that I really liked from him, where he really raised his vocals, that I really did enjoy. So this track was actually decent. So it's a 4 out of 5. Still going to ruin a little of the reception, but not to the point where it's a terrible album. So The Bottom is a good track in its own way. Wasn't sure if I was going to like this at first, but as I progressed on, I started really digging the track with how it sounded. So good track, 4.5 out of 5. The Day I Die is a good song in its own way. Like I said, the 4.5 out of 5 tracks are the highlights for this album. The 4 out of 5 tracks are the kind of misses a little bit. They're not terrible, but they're gonna ruin the reception. Even the 4.5 out of 5 tracks did ruin a bit of the reception, but not to the point where it was terrible. So it basically was pretty good. So 4.5 out of 5 for The Day I Die. I like the lyrics to it. Chris Stapleton's vocals sound pretty interesting. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Crosswind is a good track in its own way. I really dig how Chris Stapleton is singing the track. There's a little bit of funk to this track, like with how it's sounding, maybe bluegrass or something like that. I don't know what kind of specific genre it is, but it is country. But still, it's good country in its own way and well executed. 4.5 out of 5. Weight of Your World is a good track in its own way. It's the second to last song before you get to the closing track, which is like a almost 4.5 minute song. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. I really like the lyrics in this song. Really dig the lyrical content for this track, and mostly Chris Stapleton's vocals sounded pretty amazing. So yeah. Then comes the closing track, Mountains of My Mind, and that is a good track. Like I said, another one of the highlights. It ended the album pretty good in its own way. So this is a 4.5 out of 5. So overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Chris Stapleton's newest album, Higher, is an average album. It's not the best album, but it is going to be on the decent to good albums of 2023 by the end of the year, which I got a big list for that. Yeah, you can guarantee it's going to be a big list and quite a bit of videos. So for an overall score for me, I'm going to give Chris Stapleton's Higher album a 7.5 out of 10. Average listen. It's not too bad. I'd probably come back to this from time to time, but not all the time. This is something on an occasional thing. So maybe some of the time. So 7.5 out of 10 for Chris Stapleton, Higher, for his newest album that came out on November 10th of 2023. I'm sorry if I didn't review it sooner. I just had other reviews to get to, and mostly I had to work Saturday, so I was a little busy. But with that being said, thank you for watching this album review tonight. Have a good night.